good time?
Yeah!
Any questions? Any questions?
And I'll repeat the question.
Yes, sir.
Why did you guys create this play?
Great question. Why did we guys create this play? Now, he wanted to tell a story. He wanted to tell a story through song. He found all these songs that were created when people first came to this country, and they were mostly in Yiddish, but we wanted to make sure that people like yourself and anybody who doesn't understand Yiddish could understand them. So we did them half in Yiddish, half in English.
How many times did you last rehearsing?
Okay, one of you guys want to answer that question? How long did we rehearse?
We rehearsed for, it was about 3.5 weeks. We're all professional actors, musicians, directors. So this is what we do for our job. We go to work in the morning and have a full day of rehearsing. So we rehearsed about 3 weeks before we came into the theater and added all the lights and the costumes and all of that stuff. But it's full days. We work from early in the morning to late at night, and that's how we can put this together. So for those of you who are interested in the arts, it really can be a job that you do for a living, and you can go every day to work and work in the arts.
We had over 700 people audition to be in this company, this show. And from the 700, we decided to see 200 of them. And from the 200, we were lucky to pick this incredible ensemble.
Did you guys really speak Yiddish, or did you learn for the play?
The question was, do we guys really speak Yiddish, or did we learn it for the play? So I'm gonna start. I speak Yiddish.
I did not speak Yiddish. I never spoke it. I grew up hearing it in my house because, like, we stay in the play. My grandma lived with us, and my parents spoke it to my grandma when they didn't want us to know what they were talking about. So basically, the only things that I knew growing up were curses, which are not in the show. But it was always in my ear, but I was never able to speak.
So my grandparents were fluent in it. But the thing was, it's interesting because many people came here and made the conscious choice to keep the language alive, and many people came here and made the choice to have no passing along of the language because they wanted you to be really American. So I don't speak a word, I don't understand a word of it. But I do speak some Hebrew and some German, and interestingly enough, Yiddish is sort of a version of German written in Hebrew letters, which made it probably most hard for me because it's slightly different than anything I've ever known.
I spoke Hebrew growing up. My parents are Israeli, so when I graduated from college, I got a scholarship to study Yiddish, to work with the Folksbiene, and so I learned Yiddish, not just for this play, but for a couple of other shows as well. So I speak it okay. I understand a lot.
I learned Yiddish for the play. I had not spoken Yiddish before this. My grandfather used to speak it with his parents, but by the time my generation was around, it really wasn't spoken in our family.
Well, having grown up in Dublin, Ireland, I didn't hear a word of it. Well, actually, that's a lie. I was born in New York, but my grandparents spoke Yiddish, but they all died before I was born. My parents didn't speak any Yiddish, so I had to learn it for this show. But I've always had a good Yiddish accent, so that part of it was easy, but learning the words wasn't.
Good question.
Excellent. His question was, why did the Jewish people migrate from where they were living?
One of the main reasons is throughout history, there have been many countries who did not like Jewish people for a variety of reasons because they were different than who they were. So there was a time in Spain called the Spanish Inquisition that if Jews didn't convert to Christianity, they were killed. So many Jews left, some Jews converted and remained Jewish in secret. And such is the case in Russia. The Russian government sanctioned pogroms, which we mentioned, which is when the Tsarist armies could come and just destroy towns. That's during the time that my family had left. I'm first generation. My parents came here when they were little children. My grandfather had left, came here first, and then sent money to bring my mother and her siblings and my grandma here. But that's been, it's a historical thing. When you're treated badly, you try to leave the situation if you can, and that's why Juice and Migrate this way.
What was your favorite part of the whole time?
I like the moment right before we get on stage, like, what's gonna happen? I don't know. You know, anything, literally anything can happen. You know, like. So I like the moment I like step on that stage. I'm like, here we go. We're about to like enter make believe. That's my favorite part.
My favorite part is sometimes there's things that are hard for me to memorize and remember. So my favorite part is after that song is done, I go, I did it.
We had about 3.5 weeks of rehearsal time, and we got the script maybe a week and a half before that started. So since it was all new to me, I started studying right away. That's how I am anyway. But
She was the best. She knew so much more than we did.
well, we have someone associated with the theater, who's not here right now, but he made a tape for us. And with all of our Yiddish lines, and anytime we sang Yiddish, even if it was with a group, he would pronounce it for us and he would translate it for us. So that was very helpful. So
What would happen if you guys made a mistake?
Everybody what would happen if we made a mistake?
Great question, and actually, doing live theater, which every day it's different, we have a different audience, and I think probably all of us on stage can probably remember a time during this run that we made a mistake, even little things today. I know for me there was one line that I didn't say today, and little mistakes, but what you do is you just plow forward. And everybody, as an ensemble here, we really just are very supportive of each other, and you always feel like you have this support system that you can never fall too hard. You know, you always have people around you to catch the ball if you've dropped it. And that's really.
It's also kind of fun when you make a mistake because you know at this point we know the piece really well, and so if someone drops a line or
Makes up a word.
in
In both English and Yiddish.
then all of a sudden this moment never happened before, just like it does in life. You know, and so you're really present. You're really there with that person, which is kind of fun.
What is the title of the play, The Golden Land?
It's a good question. Why is it called the Golden Land? The answer is that the Golden Land is a translation of the word in Yiddish, the Golden Medina. And in Europe and in Russia, when they were dreaming about a place where they could come, they heard about this place called America, and they called it the Golden Land. They said it was so gold that you could pick gold from the streets. They said you could just shovel gold from the streets because America had so much opportunity. There was freedom. So they had this dream. They had this image of the golden Medina.
Yeah, my great grandfather. The story is that he would say to all of his children, all of his grandchildren, that just how lucky they are to be in America, and that every day I mean not literally, but he kissed the ground that he walked on. That America was a place that he could thrive and where he could work really hard to give a better future for his children, which was not possible back in Russia.
I want to introduce you to somebody, a really good friend of mine. Come, Elmore, would you join us for a second? Why?
But you have a story.
Elmore has a story. I want you to meet Elmore, who is like one of our performers at the Yiddish Theater. And he came to us because he was interested in Yiddish. And I thought it would be interesting. I invited him to come see the show today because I thought it would be interesting for you to hear a little story about Elmore, why Elmore came to the Yiddish Theater wanting to learn Yiddish.
There was this great American artist named Paul Rosen. He was a man who his parents were slaves, but he graduated as a lawyer from Columbia University. But this man could do anything. He could sing. He was a huge movie star. He was a great football player at a time when black people really could not accomplish those things. And he was a great singer. And I love his music. I wanted to sing some of his songs. He sings songs of the world. He spoke 27 languages. And so he sings Yiddish songs, and I love these songs. So I wanted to learn how to sing his song. I didn't know what I was going to do, so I was walking down the street one day, and I was passing this Judaica store. A Judaica store is where they sell Jewish religious, what? Paraphernalia, right? Like menorahs and yeah, books and stuff like that. So I'm walking down the street and I see this store. I said, well, maybe somebody in there can help me sing Yiddish. So I went inside and I asked the guy behind the counter if he could help me pronounce the Yiddish in these songs. And he said, no, you gotta call my friend Theodore Mikkel. He'll help you. Theodore Mikkel is like a big, he was a Jewish star. I mean, he was like huge, man. So I was like, okay. So he gave me Theodore Mikkel's telephone number. I called him up, and he says, no, you can't, no, I'm not the one. You gotta go to the best guy in the business, that's Solomon Lotte. So I called Solomon, and we had never met before, and I went down there, and we hit it off, didn't we, Sal? And it was, yeah,
One day you'll come here, Elmore sing.
We've been working
Amazing.
together for a long time now, and yeah, I grew up in New York City, so practically, you know, besides all my, you know, my friends who are black, I have, you know, a lot of Jewish friends, so, you know, I feel quite at home.